Welcome, everyone,
Damn.
to the Whovians cast. I am your host, Matrix Lord 212, and I'm with Ben. What's up, Ben?
Hello.
What's up, Mike D?
Ben's back in black.
That's
Shit.
right. What's up, Scott?
And Scott's in black too.
What's going on? All right, so I want to screen share the new Titans that we have coming out. So I guess I was wrong. They are going to make a newer set, but only it's a mixture of old and new.
Yeah, but please tell me we got the Puddle Monster in this series.
Well, Sarah Jane looks really good, actually.
Oh, yeah, I have to say.
Can you see that? Can everybody see this?
Yeah. Craig's there.
So we got Donna. We got 10th Doctor with the glowing eyes. Martha looks really good. So does Nardole.
Ooh, face a bow.
And the TARDIS control console.
I don't like Bill, though. She's got River Song's hairdo again. Like that the figure doesn't stand up because the hair is too heavy. So it constantly falls over.
Swimming trunks. We got the Towel 11th Doctor or Swimming Trunks Doctor.
We got Richard Pryor.
Yeah.
We got the TARDIS console, which is a weird Titan. That's the weirdest Titan I've ever seen. The 11th Doctor with a towel.
That's from the
Craig larger, yes. And the face of Bo, which I think this is a nice set, actually.
Yeah, I have to agree. So
I agree.
Sarah Jane gets the Titan.
Craig actually really does look like James Gordon. Look at that figure.
Well, so does Sarah Jane. Sarah Jane looks exact, too.
Yeah, that's true. And Nardole, actually.
Donna looks pretty good, too.
Martha also. Freeman Agyeman, yeah.
But does Donna come with sass?
I think Donna doesn't look like Donna, though. Kind of. Looks weird. But the other ones look exact.
They still haven't captured Peter Capaldi.
No, definitely not.
Right there, that 12th Doctor looks like Mr. Peterman from Seinfeld.
Wow.
Yes.
Yeah, he's horrible. They didn't get him, and I don't think they got Tom Baker that good either.
Yeah.
He looks kind of weird. So.
And I mean, look at the 11th Doctor. Looks like kind of a robot with that chin and jaw and stuff.
I know. Like, why can't he look exact too? I mean,
that's a good question. I mean, how come they can't capture the Doctors, but they capture the companions? I mean, that's kind of
yes.
God, look at Martha. Look at Martha. That looks ridiculous.
Do you think they got the? You think they've got Donna's and Bill's boobs big enough?
Jesus.
I mean, look at it. I mean, you can barely make out Sarah Jane's, but
it's the one Titan set right
Donna's and Bill's. It's like they're just boom out there in your face.
That's the cool Titan set. But then we got other things as well. We got some more pictures, and again, I guess the best stunning picture that we have is the mock-up of the 50th, but master style, which that looks really nice.
Ooh, I would love to have a closer of that.
I mean, that is definitely.
Sim looks great. They did a good job of kind of meshing in there the Anthony Ainley and Roger Delgado sort of like little bits with the beard and the hair and stuff.
I'm just worried that he's not going to be the genuine article, unfortunately. I'm worried about that, but we don't know for sure. But then we got some other stuff to show off as well. Let's see here how we got this. Okay. Oops. Hold on. Okay. All right. So we got. Wait a minute. Technical difficulties.
Wouldn't be Google without technical difficulties.
I know. What the hell? Okay. All right. Come on. All right. Here we go. Let me screen share this. All right. So you see Nardole there?
Yes.
He's concerned, I guess, with controls or whatever that is. Then we have Missy. And they got earpieces where the doctor's talking to all of them.
Yeah. That are reminiscent of that first time around.
It's like Missy's in her Series 8 attire.
Hmm.
With the hat.
She looks different there.
Blue
So
Man
what's
Group's appearing. Okay, cool.
That looks cool.
What's going to happen with Bill? We've got like 2 episodes left. I mean,
Is that Bill? I hope that's not Bill that he's looking at right there.
no. I'm just saying in general. Like, what's going to happen with Bill?
Well, what I'm saying is I hope that's not Bill as a Cyberman. Like absorbed.
Too
He's looking
tall.
like- okay. Well, they're all the same size, aren't they?
I don't know. How tall is Nardole? I mean, like him next to Capaldi looks like he's like 5'3" or something.
Yeah, but all the Cybermen are made to be. Look, they're all made to be the same size almost, right?
Cool.
Yeah.
No, not really.
You know?
Yeah.
I don't think so.
Here we come.
Now this is what Mondus.
Hey, we're the Cybermen.
So they got
Here
to.
to
They don't.
fly around. We're here to delete him.
Now, I heard they had to cut something from the episode.
What was that?
I don't know. They said something. They put something in there that's not really big, but I don't know if they were allowed to do something, so they had to cut something.
Who the fuck are these people?
Got some doctor and chubby nurse.
Well, we got the nurse. A nurse. There's a physician there. They got a Nightmare on Silver Cyberman. They got the
gal from Voyage of the Damned, but she looks like it.
no.
I know, bitch. Yeah, the fat chick that was eating too much on that.
These are all different, Cybermen, but they don't have the 70 and 80 Cybermen. What the hell?
Honestly, the Mondasian Cybermen are the creepiest.
Yeah.
They're like Michael Myers. The other ones are too flashy and
Yeah,
And the fact that we're seeing them in color opposed to black and white, that's also what's...
yeah, that's true.
Well, that's the biggest right there. He's got the laser screwdriver.
yeah, he looks epic there. Sim looks
Yeah.
awesome.
Yeah.
But does he still hear the drums? 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4.
Well,
What
probably
that would
doesn't.
be great
I would think he doesn't hear the drums anymore.
with Ainley and Delgado behind him.
Yeah.
So,
So good. He's not going to have the lightning powers yet at the end of time.
yeah, he gets his powers taken away, but that's okay.
I just want to see the Master like shrink somebody down. It's a
Yeah.
callback to like
Compression
old time.
generator.
Like blast like Bill's aunt to like being like a
Oh,
doll.
Bill's foster mother or something, right?
Yeah.
Well, they could always like bring the character back just to shrink her down.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'd love to see the tissue compression eliminator again, but they haven't.
I'd like to see the Master's TARDIS come
Yeah,
back.
the only hint to it was when they was not Utopia, the one afterwards.
Well, didn't Missy say that one of her requisites was she wanted to have the tissue compression blaster back or whatever the fuck it is?
Tissue compression eliminator.
Yeah, thank you.
Yeah.
Joe has watched a classic episode. You knew that?
Yeah.
I know we're not
I've
supposed
watched
to.
many.
There's a guy who does a YouTube show for the Nerdist, and I posted on his Twitter thing. I said, talked about the tissue compression eliminator, and I want to see if he talks about it.
Yeah. Well, we were talking off air about.
I've got a question, actually. Seriously, that Scott mentioned the Nerdist. Is that maybe I'm like way off here? But is the Nerdist Chris Hardwick?
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay,
That
I
was-
can't stand that guy.
Oh, I like this.
He's got like this like fake sort of like.
Oh no.
Yeah, you know that guy's not been a longtime fan of Who or anything. He's hopping on like as a hipster sort of thing to like, he's got Talking Dead and all that kind of crap. But he's a fake fan. Give me a break.
Well, he did a Doctor Who panel that time, but he's totally left out some of the doctors when he's
Yeah.
trying to go in order. Remember that?
He doesn't even know who they are.
I was pissed about that, and I'm like, oh, come on. But,
Yeah, they brought him on. They brought him on to like be like some goofball hipster that would like host a panel. You know, to get we're gonna throw a show out there, Talking Dead, whatever. I'm gonna act like a fake hipster nerd who actually loves the show when he doesn't know probably jack shit about Doctor Who. To be honest, maybe I'm wrong. That's how I see it.
Maybe before Talking Dead though, he was very nervous, so maybe he just messed up. Left out. But what we were talking about something off air, I really want to cover.
Yeah.
We were talking about. I was ashamed we didn't get it on air, but I was saying how I was worried that from what I heard with my sources that what if it is true that John Sims' master is in Missy's head, and he's the part that's dancing with her and saying, "Look, you got to remain evil," and then the good aspect. I said that if that is the case, there should be a good aspect in her head with Derek Jacobi as Professor Yana, but before he became the master, like talking in character, no, you must be good, you must progress the human race and different things. And then John said, like, no, just kill everybody. And I was suggesting that if that is the case, and they have John Sim trying to convince you to be evil, that they have a good side in there. Now, somebody said that they'll probably have Capaldi in there as the good side, like him being mind melded in there with her. But I would just hope, and then we heard that there might be a rumor that if that is the case, and it's all in her head in this episode, that the real John Sim would appear the next episode on Earth, or whatever. So, what are the odds that this master in this episode is fake? Might be
90. I would say 97 to 98%.
Well, Scott, you answered for Mike D, but okay, 98% fake. You said or real?
Fuck you, Scott. No, I actually, I'm not making a joke here. I actually think Scott's wrong. I take the opposite position. I actually think they're going to have John Sim in this.
So it's going to really be John Sim, this one?
Yeah. I to some degree, I think it's going to be more than just like some sort of thing like that. Because I think Moffat, he's going to try and go back on what he said before about having the master in the show, and he's going to act like he never said that, and he's going to throw it in there like it's a toss to like the fans, so that they'll go, "Oh wow, he brought the master back." I love.
Well, he did bring the master back in Missy, and Missy is the master. She is the master.
Well, I'm saying bringing the master back rather than Missy. I know they're the same person, but I'm using literal names here.
Okay.
No offense to Scott. I'm just saying, like, I really think that they are. I mean, I was going to say that, actually, before he so rudely interrupted.
I thought that was a question. I'm sorry.
Scott, you troll.
He's just so amazed by your fake picture from, like, 25 years ago that you don't look like that.
I took that back in 1983. I was in third grade. Yeah.
So there's all those haters from that show.
Oh,
yeah. No. Which, by the way, no, you can't come in. I'm sorry. I know you've been asking every night, but no, can't come back. But anyway, continuing.
God.
A little joke there. So, John Sims' master, is he going to appear beyond the finale? Like in the Christmas special? I'm going to go with Ben.
That would be fun if it did. I like John Sims' master.
Yeah. What if he just kept on it for Chibnall? Like Chibnall says, I want him as my master, and that's it.
I think he may. I think he may, if I may interject here, because of the fact. Didn't you say something recently about the fact that Chibnall wrote for Life on Mars?
Yes.
Wasn't he in that show?
Yes, he was the star of the show. Yes.
Well, there you go. I think he's bringing that master back, the proper master, rather than Missy.
And it's not that he's degenerating. It's just at a sequence at a time. Just
I think they're going to do that. I think that Sim's going to have some part to play in the next season, possibly. But I think that I think they're going to bring Sim back to some degree now, but they're not going to tie up that story. They're going to bring him and introduce him back into the equation, because they're going to kind of reset things with a new doctor, new companions and stuff, but they're going to use Sim as a carryover into the new era. That's how I see it.
And we heard that they're probably going to do a romance thing with the doctor and the companion, which I know. So that's probably like almost right, Scott. It was like a big percentage that may happen.
Yeah. They're going to do a big old
romance 5-year whatever. Oh my God! And
set up. But yeah, I agree with everyone. I honestly think they're going to do the whole. They introduce Sim in this episode, and then the next season, or even the Christmas episode, that's when, boom, they have Sims. And then the following season, they have random adventures where...
they should have different masters show up.
I see it I see it like when they brought back the Master, and they had Anthony Ainley in Keeper of Trocken and Legopolis, and Castrovalva, of course. And that they are going to probably have, some episodes that go by or whatever, but the Master's still in the background. Because like we called it before they actually announced what Chibnall was talking to the BBC about making the first season of his era a whole story arc. We called that before that was even announced. And I really think that's what they're going to do, is they're going to make that whole season one continual story arc instead of breaking it up, which I think is good. Because we're seeing too many lackluster episodes. And I'm not being like hateful on the show, or I'm not being too hateful of like dismissing episodes or whatever, but the show needs to get into a little bit more of an episodic sort of thing, to where we have an ongoing storyline with a story arc to get invested in, instead of like individual rushed episodes where the Doctor's going to planet X, just plug in whatever planet you want. He's going to be fighting X villain, plug that villain in. You're going to see the villain for like a short time. There's going to be some canned way that they're going to type the episode, and then they're going to go on to the next episode. It's going to be cookie cutter. They need to do something more serialized with what's going on with the show.
And I would prefer a young Doctor and an older Master. I would prefer like Charles Dance really to be like the Master. Just in the background, part of that world, part of where the Doctor is on Earth.
I think they'll keep Sim, because I think Sim now is going to be kind of like, you're going to have a younger Doctor, and Sim's going to be more of a threat because he's kind of like the older, wiser, more, he's been around the block more than this newer Doctor.
Well, he's free because his show got canceled in the States. He had a show here, and I believe that got canceled. So, I mean, he could do it, for now, unless he gets picked up for something else. So, yeah, I'm okay with John Sim, appearing every now and then in the new season. But I do want a Charles Dance, though, to be the Master at one point.
I think they, as we've said, they're trying to reset the series back to the formula that they know works. And if they can't get a younger Doctor, kind of a Tennant-ish sort of Doctor, and they're going to bring the Master back, Sim's Master, Tennant's Master, and that's going to be what they're going to use in lieu of having Tennant back. They're going to have like a young Doctor facing this Master that we all know.
It's a shame that Matt Smith's Doctor never got to face the Master.
That's
I mean, I would always make it. They should have made Toby Jones.
His Matt Smith Doctor be, I'm the most intelligent one, and nobody wants to counter me. Well, problem is, when you don't have the yang to one's yin, that's probably one reason why the episodes were so lackluster during his time, because there was nobody for him really to play off of.
Well, I liked Matt Smith's era, so.
Well, I'm kind of curious. Ben, were you a fan of Matt Smith's era?
Matt Smith was my first Doctor.
So, well, that still doesn't really answer the question, but I mean, like, does that mean?
Yeah, I love Matt Smith's one.
Okay, all right, fair enough.
Yeah.
I mean, like, well, that you could have come in on Matt Smith, but preferred like Eccleston, Tennant, Capaldi, whatever. So I wanted to be sure that I understand the foundation that we're working from when we discuss things, because I love Smith's first couple of seasons, but it kind of petered out a little bit, kind of like Tom Baker.
That's what I was talking about.
Yeah,
the first couple of seasons, but the latter ones.
Well, the last one was like weird. The last one was just all over the place. Series 7, even Moffat admitted that.
Yeah,
that he
I didn't like
screwed
that
it up.
season very much.
He basically said that, he kept changing his mind about Amy and Rory. And then they're here again, half the season. And then he ruined the whole. He admitted he ruined the whole great intelligence thing. He should have had him in more episodes. And he admitted that they rushed the whole Clara. I mean, the whole Clara thing was just like hospital girl, boom, snap your fingers, it's done already. So.
Well, Ben's going to be happy as long as we don't have like a Davison sort of doctor, right? Because that was his least favorite from what I recall.
Yeah, I had no problem with him. I just found his episodes boring to watch. His doctor really had nothing that made him.
Is it the writing, or is it the way that Davison kind of portrayed sort of a bland sort of doctor in a way? A
little bit of both.
Okay.
Because, like you said, Davidson really had nothing that set him apart like the other doctors did.
Oh, shot Omega. It's like,
he was just the doctor with the celery on his lapel.
But did you think that
he was in the 5 doctors?
Did you think Davison got better in his last season with like some like more, I guess, like a little bit more gloom and doom with like Resurrection of the Daleks and Caves of Arizona and stuff like that? Or
I only watched like 3 or 4 episodes of Davidson's run.
Did you see Caves of Arizona, the one he regenerated in?
No, I saw the Castrovalva. I saw the 5 Doctors. And,
so you don't like Castrovalva?
And the one where Brigadier meets himself and causes the paradox.
Mordred Undead.
Yeah,
I got it first. I love that.
I think honestly that Ben. I think if he watched, I put it this way. I would ask Ben to watch Caves of Androzani because I would really be interested.
Caves of Androzani, right?
Androzani, whatever you want to say, whatever the fuck it is. I'd really be interested in hearing what he thought about that episode because Davison really was great in that.
What about the Black Guardian, Enlightenment, and all that? You don't like?
Well, I mean, like sticking with the episode I'm talking about. I mean, what do you think? Do you think he would maybe have a different opinion?
I think he would love Caves of Androzani.
Yeah, it's really dark, man. I mean, like from the get go, like
Cheers and Jack.
His
introduction, how he became that's one of my favorites. Yeah.
I mean, I like
that. Just to put this in there real quick, that episode, Ben. I mean, it's really worth the reviews and the critical opinions of like how great that episode is. It's really dark, and from the get go, the Doctor is like there's an air of dread and an atmosphere with that episode where you are like knowing that things are going to be going bad for the Doctor. And it's really worth watching. You really should watch that. It's really good. It totally changes. Like, I won't speak for you, but I know that other people that I've talked to about watching that episode, when they saw that, they're like, "Wow, this should have been Peter Davison like the whole era."
Yeah, it was so different and so good. But
yes,
Earthshock also was amazing. I'm not gonna. You saw it?
I saw Earthshock.
You like that?
It was okay.
Wow. Okay.
What
about the Black Guardian? You didn't see the Black Guardian?
He saw Modulin dead.
Yeah, that was a good episode.
Well, he appeared a little bit in there. Yeah.
The part about Earthshock was when Adric died.
Well, you had to cheer when Adric died, right?
Everybody. Yeah, he was annoying.
Yeah, exactly.
Remember, we're all Adric. Remember that. Yeah.
Well, I'm a fan of Turlo. You should.
I hate Turlo. I fucking hate him.
Turlo was
sorry, but I hate him.
But he was the young Ebenezer Scrooge in George C. Scott version of A Christmas Carol.
I hate Turlo, man. I was so glad when he was gone.
Planet of Fire, the episode that precedes Caves of Androzani, I actually felt bad when Turlo left because I was like, that was such a cool scene at the end, when he's like, I gotta go, and the Doctor's like, better to go while you're a bit of a hero, huh? And it was because Turlo was like the last carryover from Davison's era, and you knew when he left from there, it was just like gloom and doom. And Davison,
right, like when Perry came on, he wasn't gonna have anybody else, but I would have hoped that he would have been with Perry more adventures than just one. That was crazy.
And it's great to see that. It's great to see that Davison was kind of like the older brother to Perry, and then the next Doctor wanted to kill her.
I told you. The moment I saw that, my mind was made up when I was a kid. John. I mean, actually before that, when he woke up and he's like expecting someone else, I'm like, oh my god, is this Doctor what the hell was that?
That's 3 eyes in one breath.
I did not like that at all. I did not like him the moment I saw him, and then when he choked her, I really didn't like him. But then I liked him though. I did like him though in 2 Doctors, and there was a few, like, you know, the Dalek one, Cybermen. I mean, I really liked, you know, when it was dark and the Valley Yard, it was good.
Colin needed time to. They needed time to like even his doctor out.
Yeah.
And that was the whole point. They wanted to start him as a doctor that you couldn't quite, you know, like connect with, but you would learn who that new doctor was at the time. I like that idea. I like Colin Baker. I mean, there were some missteps with things like the costume, and I think if Colin had like another 2 seasons, it would make more sense the way that he played the Doctor. It's kind of like if you had Capaldi, the way he was like so miswritten, and you only had like 1 or 2 seasons of him, you would be like, oh, this, you know, blame the doctor, don't, you know, blame the actor, don't blame the writers who couldn't write for the fucking guy, you know.
It's a shame that in Dimensions in Time, he was with the Brigadier for like 5 seconds, going into the helicopter, and if he was going to be in the episode with Colin Baker, that would have been amazing, you know, like an actual episode. But we didn't get that. So
because apparently came during the regeneration.
I think they would have got along. I think.
Colin Baker's doctor had that sort of slight arrogance that Pertwee had, which would play well off of Nicholas Courtney as the Brigadier.
Yeah.
That would have been great to watch because, like Peter Davison, you know, he's a little bit more flat and vanilla, and we had him played off of Nick Courtney. And
I liked Peter Davison. I was, you know.
No, I liked Davison. He was like the doctor I grew up with Tom also. But I mean, Davison was really the one that I watched a lot of at the time. And I think that I would have liked to have seen more, like you said, of Colin playing off of Nick Courtney than what we got with Peter Davison. Because, like, really anyone could have played off of Nicholas Courtney like Peter Davison did. He really didn't add much to it. Kind of like if you had Peter Davison playing across Patrick Troughton and the 2 Doctors, it meant more to have Colin Baker in that off of Troughton.
Because that would have been awesome to see.
I think a missed opportunity in Dimensions of Time, if that was done properly, we could have had Peter Davison and Colin Baker together. That would have been really cool. But we never got that. They were all separated doing their own thing. And that it was, from what Sylvester McCoy says and everybody else says, that was the biggest mess in history that they just, they were all drunk or whatever the hell they were doing that. So I don't even think it's canon. I don't even think it's canon anymore.
It was during,
I mean, Leela looked like I don't know what the hell she was wearing.
Native American.
That was ridiculous. And I don't think it's canon anymore, to tell you the truth. I think
then you have those scary floating heads of the 1st and 2nd Doctors.
Yeah. I don't think it's canon.
Can you imagine the bickering in the TARDIS? Can you imagine the bickering in the TARDIS if you had Colin Baker and Tegan?
Well, we had that in that weird
Jim will fix it thing. No, I'm saying like a real. Yeah, I'm saying like a real episode, not like
that would have been better. That would have been good to see that. Because he couldn't stand Tegan, I guess, in that little snippet thing. Yeah,
like Tegan could have been whining about stuff, and he's like, "Oh."
I mean, Matt Smith mentioned her in the Crimson Horror.
I could see the 6th Doctor talking about, like, you know, Tegan. Oh, come on, you're such a queen. Quit bickering and whining, and she, you know.
I honestly think Capaldi. I'm pretty sure Capaldi was asking Moffat constantly because he kept having everybody. It was Capaldi that had everybody come see the TARDIS and take pictures with him.
Yeah.
Like Katie Manning, everybody. And he's great friends with Janet Fielding, Capaldi. So I'm pretty sure, like, he wanted them in his era of Doctor Who, and Moffat's like, no.
That would have been cool to see Joe with the
and it's like, come on, man. It would have been so cool if Moffat would have let Capaldi do
over big time.
If he would have let Capaldi do what he wanted to do and get some things. But he was so arrogant, like, no. Even Gatiss, his best friend, he wouldn't let him have Ice Warriors for so many years. Like, come on.
It's Moffat's way of the highway.
That's right. And that's wrong, though.
Yeah.
Because, you know, he denied a lot of people what they wanted, you know.
What do you think Moffat's going to think, like, if Chibnall comes on, which I hope he does, and it's going to be like a new golden age for the show?
He's going to hate it.
And Moffat's going to be kind of shit on. And
he's going to hate it. He's going to be pissed.
Is he going to talk shit about Chibnall, you think, and say, well, I would have done this differently and all that kind of shit?
No, I think he'll distance himself from Doctor Who. We won't even, like, talk about, he'll do something like I'm busy with projects. He'll play it, like, safe like that because you never want to burn your bridges. He might need Chibnall to, like, work with him in a separate project.
Oh, yeah.
So I don't think he'll ever, he'll just,
motherfucker, Moffat.
Listen, he'll just be a morbid, he'll regret everything he's done, and then he'll come out with a book, like after Doctor Who, after Chibnall's run, and he'll say, you know, what my problem, and you know how his subconscious leaked into the episodes, and he messed with the characters, and he's like messing with the actors because they will leave it. And you're gonna find out a lot of stuff, I'm sure, about Moffat that you're gonna be like, oh, like ugly stuff, you know, like I mean, maybe he was really genuinely mad at Matt Smith, and maybe he kind of blackballed him from any other roles, possibly. I don't know. You never know, but I'm just saying that, you know, I think subconsciously, I think he holds grudges, and I think like, you know, like he doesn't have constructive criticism because before when he was with Russell T Davies, he was the best writer because he was under somebody, and they said, no, we got to do it this way. Okay, no, you got to fix this.
Star Wars.
Yeah, something like.
Well, when he was by himself, like everybody was afraid to tell him that this sucks. Everybody was afraid because after a while they would tell him they want to do this, and he's like, no. And if they said no enough times, he won't bring them back for a season of Doctor Who.
Do you think Moffat got a little bit big-headed when Spielberg got him to do that 10-10 movie?
Yes. I think that inflated.
And people were like, "Oh,
yeah, that was the lead.
You know who you're talking to? That guy worked with Spielberg." You know,
right. I think it definitely inflated his ego, and I think that everybody that he came across of, he just because you know Gatiss just played it cool, like okay, whatever you want, because Gatiss is smart, because Gatiss got to do Sherlock, Gatiss got to do An Adventure in Space and Time, Gatiss got to do all these things just by being friends with him. But I'm sure he don't like care for him. Like, you know, because he wouldn't let him do it. Because he even said it, like, joking around. He's like, yeah, I finally got him to let me do the High Story episode I want to do. You know? But it's like, why waste, like, all these years? Like, even Matt Smith. Matt Smith's like, oh, I want to fight dinosaurs. Eventually, he buckled it. Our dinosaurs in the spaceship, all right. But he never got the master. He said, no, remember we were talking about this, Mike D? He's like, my doctor is not going to have a villain that he can beat him. Like, nobody's going to be the same level as my doctor. My doctor's the oldest. My doctor's the smartest. My doctor has the most this, the most that.
Honestly, it sounds like a little bit of projecting from Moffat, the way he sees himself in the entertainment.
God complex.
Yeah.
Right, and then he shows Matt Smith on a pedestal, right? But with Capaldi, he never put Capaldi on a pedestal. You notice that? He always put Capaldi as, like, an old idiot. I'm an idiot. I'm with a box. I'm stupid. I'm trusting Davros. I'm trusting this. I'm like just an idiot. They just wrote him into be like, what the hell are they doing?
You know, and it made it seem as though Capaldi really wasn't his idea. Capaldi was just thrown upon him.
Well, Russell T Davies wanted him. I know that.
It was a link to the 50th anniversary.
I think maybe Russell T Davies had say or something. But the thing is that I think that when Capaldi came aboard, he thought he was going to be like a Matt Smith, where he's going to tell him what to do. And when Capaldi wasn't complying, and the whole thing was he was not happy that, from what I understand, that Capaldi got to pick his own suit, his own thing, and Capaldi was hanging out with Sean Pertwee, and they were taking pictures, they were having fun, right? And he wasn't even with Moffat or anybody. He's showing off like his stuff.
I think Moffat might have been threatened by Capaldi's presence, if you will. Unlike Matt Smith, where he could kind of bring Matt Smith along and say, you know, I cast you, you know, you're kind of like my bitch in a way.
He could not control Capaldi at all.
Yeah, whereas Capaldi was like, I mean, Matt Smith, I don't know too much about his background, but I think that when Smith came along, it was more probably like a relationship where Moffat was like, hey, we gave you this great role, this iconic role, so you need to kiss my ass. That was kind of like the way he handled it. But Capaldi actually brought to the role, he was a real legit fan, and Moffat claims to be a big fan or whatever, which is probably true.
They conflicted.
But yeah, like Capaldi, he saw him more as somebody that was more of a someone he would butt heads with because Capaldi wasn't going to like kind of sit back and roll over like Matt Smith may have.
Right.
Just being glad to have the role. Like, oh my God. Because, I mean, Capaldi already had an established, like, acting resume with things, films that,
Right.
And Moffat didn't like the fact that, well, you know, he made Matt Smith. So,
Yeah.
That's playing the game.
I truly believe that, and I believe that all the best stories went to Clara. Because look at it. He wrote it as if Clara was the star and not Capaldi. Look at that whole Mikey. Seriously, look at it. He made Jenna Louise Coleman the star. He set up Capaldi.
Come on, give me a break. You know I know.
That's why. That's why we wouldn't.
And Capaldi was on Moffat to get her back because she was going to leave. Remember? And then Capaldi like buckled. He's like, "All right, I'll shred all the scripts." But you know what though? Because of that, he burned the character of Clara. He put it in the finale that she's responsible for Danny Pink getting killed.
Don't forget, Moffat played a power move by signing Clara right before Smith, right?
Yes, they signed her before, and they didn't even give him a good raise, Matt Smith.
That was to put Matt Smith in his place and say, "Hey, look, I made you. You need to, go along with the program." Is that not true?
Yeah, because he was talking about he can make movies. He didn't like that.
And you know what? He tried that same shit with Capaldi as best he could, and Capaldi's like, "No, I quit." And you know that's what happened. You know that's.
I know that's what happened. I know. Well, another thing happened too. He's going to Moffat. He's like, "Well, what are we doing? Like, why am I sitting home for a year? Why are you? You know, because you have say with the BBC. Why are you not filming for a whole year? We got, you know, from Husbands of River Song to Dr. Mysterio. He's just chilling. He's not. You know, it's like, what the hell? Why are you wasting time like this?" So. Thank you for giving him the Mondazzi and Cybermen that he asked for, but you turned it into a joke. Like you tried to turn him into Colin Baker.
If you think about it in a way, Moffat was to Matt Smith just the way Tom Parker was to Elvis. He pretty much, because if we remember, Elvis was going to be in A Star Is Born, but because Parker thought, no. And that's why they went with Christopher Stuyvesant, which saved his career.
Look, we heard now the rumor that Matt Smith's going to appear in the Christmas special. Why is that? Because he appeared in Capaldi's first episode, so he's going to appear in his last? There's a rumor going around now.
Half Cyberman thing then?
No, well, I don't know if they're going to tie it in as Mr. Clever, but we heard that Matt Smith may appear in the Christmas special.
They're not going to convolute it by doing that. Do it a Mr. Clover thing.
Yeah, this is going to be the Doctor. I mean, but I don't know why he would, unless they're going to do a different shot of the 50th, where he's going to have a communication with them or something. I don't know. But he comes out and he said, it's just, you could see he punished Jenna Louise Coleman, he punished Matt Smith, he punished Capaldi, he punished the actor that played Danny Pink. You saw that. Like when they went touring.
Moffat's playing games.
That guy was wearing, I got to tell you, everybody has their own unique style, okay? But that guy was wearing the ridiculously colored outfits that was like shining. Like you could see him from a mile away. And he was like, everybody was loving Danny Pink. And he got mad. And he's like, nah, he ain't coming back. And it's like, well, you just he contradicted everything he wrote about her and him having a baby and having future time travel and stuff. Didn't care. He didn't care.
Moffat's got a very passive-aggressive sort of way of handling Doctor Who, and it didn't start out that way. It started out like really well, and that's why I've seen the progression with Moffat. You know, the first couple of seasons with Smith, and then like at that point going forward into Peter's era, I've seen what's going on with Moffat, and he really just seems, like you said, with Sherlock, he's kind of like, you know what? Well, I'm your boss. I'm the person that gave you this job. And Capaldi's kind of like, I took this job because I wanted the job, not because I had to have the job. And Moffat wants someone that can be someone that he has power over, like Smith. You know, like, I made your career, Matt Smith. He didn't make Peter Capaldi's career. Capaldi would have been a great. He already had an acting resume, like I said. And he doesn't like that. He knows he's been studying the Hollywood system. He worked with Steven Spielberg, so he wants to be kind of like the guy that people kiss their ass. They show up on set and they're like, "Oh wow, I'm working with Stephen Moffat. I'm so impressed. This is so awesome, whatever." And it's about working their way up the ladder. And Capaldi's not about that. He's really a legit actor. He's like, "Hey, I'm here for like a good role," and that's why he fucking quit this series. I'm telling you, because he's like, he even said this, Joe. Capaldi said, "I stopped playing this part. I quit because I wanted to feel like I'm giving my best effort playing this role." And he knows that he's been tossed crumbs.
Well, he said that. Sometimes you get the shittiest of scripts, and you got to make it look like it's an Academy Award winning picture or something like that. You got to put your best acting into it. So he's admitting that the scripts suck.
Of course, yes.
And another telling thing is Murray Gold went to him, and he says, I have to write a piece for a score for Matt Smith's Regeneration. And he's like, absolutely not. I'm like, what do you mean? Like, we do that for all the doctors. No, we're not going to make a big deal out of Matt Smith. You're going to reuse something from Rings of Akatab, and you're gonna change the tune a little bit and tweak this here so it's like something similar.
Do you mean to tell me if Philip Hinchcliffe or Russell T Davies was in charge of the show, that Capaldi would be so quick to quit?
Oh my God, how incredible would that be?
Yes.
How incredible would that be? It would be unfreaking believable. Unbelievable. I'm telling you, night and day. Night and day. It wouldn't be all this, him questioning himself, if he's a good man or not. All that shit would be out the window. Capaldi would have many companions. It would be different. It would be exuberant. It would be freaking stunning. It would be like, oh my God. I'm completely convinced. Honestly.
Same.
Honestly. Because listen, think about what's going on in the UK. What's the real story? When people talk about Stephen Moffat, the people that work for him, are they like happy? Because think of all the people he put out of work. Remember when they liked doing seasons and he took off a year and he took off a year here? Whole factories of special effects designers shut down that was doing Doctor Who for like years. Like these people, when Russell T Davies left, right? And he wanted to make sure everybody had work. Like when Sarah Jane Adventures went down, right? He created a show just so that way all these people would have jobs. Wizards versus Aliens, which was like a couple of years, because he cared about his workers. He cared about giving them jobs. These people had nothing to do when Husbands of River Song ended, like over. He wound up doing Class because thank God they had something to do. How do you ask a worker?
Moffat gave Matt Smith his name in the public. Moffat gave Karen Gillan her name in the public, and Arthur Darvill also. But then he comes across Peter Capaldi, and Jen Louise Coleman. She's been doing acting also, but
Captain America. She's been in a few things.
She's keeping her mouth shut. She played the game. But Capaldi's like, look, show some respect, man. I've been an actor. I've been around. I know what's going on with the way things are done. And you've got an ego, Moffat. And I guarantee you that's where they butted heads. And he's being the bigger man by going, you know what? I'm not going to create some strife in this whole community of Doctor Who by throwing Moffat under the bus. I'm going to be like the bigger man. I'm going to go, because remember, Capaldi was talking about it, whenever an actor comes along and says, well, I'm going to play it as long as Tom Baker, just like Capaldi said he wanted to do, all of a sudden, literally within a matter of a couple of weeks, they went from that to, well, I'm quitting. I wonder why.
Well, he says, well, I don't know. Maybe I'll 2 years, 2 years, one. It was like, oh, it started changing. Right. I agree. So.
And then Moffat took that year off. The show was off a year. And it's like, Capaldi's like, look, this is a role just like you or any of us would be like, oh, we would love to play the Doctor. It'd be fun. We would love to do that. We were fans of the show from when we were kids. But then you realize the people who are actually the showrunners behind this guy Moffat, and you're like, oh my God, what an egomaniac. And you're like, this person's making me look bad because of their ego and taking a year off to do a show. And I mean, look at this season I know I know people are like, this season's good. What are you talking about? You don't know what you're saying, whatever. It's been very lackluster.
We know the real story behind the scenes. We know the real story behind the scenes, and it's sad. It's sad that it's come to that. Look at friggin', he wouldn't let the classic doctors appear in the 50th. They made fun of him. They did the friggin' 5-doctor-ish thing. Remember that? And they put him in there. They probably paid him to be like himself. But Moff, and
that was better than most of the episodes we got this season.
Right. And Matt Smith and David Tennant came to Moffat, and they had a proposal for a 10-episode or 5-episode crossover with both of them. Now, if it was anybody else, if it would have been Russell T. Davies or anybody else, right? You know that David Tennant is giving you his time to do a big thing with Doctor Who, with Matt Smith. They wanted to do a whole season of them together. Anybody else, even the BBC, absolutely. Here's the money, let's go. But because he didn't suggest it and because he didn't do it, he's like, no, I'm sorry, we can't do that. Because I'm Stephen Moffat and I don't want your idea to overshadow mine. So no.
I'll say something. I think that the whole staff of the show, and I could be way off base, but I'm going to say I think that during Tennant's run in Eccleston, but especially Tennant, I think that people realized that Russell T. Davies was part of the gang. He had the show's best interest in heart, not about him, not about ego. He was a team player. He was willing to do what's going to be best for the show, not for him. And Moffat came along and he played the game. He got his role. There's the showrunner, and he's like, I'm going to make this about me. I'm going to do what's going to prop me up, and I'm going to act like I'm going to use this facade of me being the showrunner of Doctor Who, but yet you see where his allegiance lies with Sherlock taking the show off during Capaldi's era, for that.
Wait, you forgot in his tenure with Russell T. Davies, he didn't agree with Russell T. Davies about Rose.
I didn't forget that. I haven't had a chance to bring that up yet.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I mean, there are many factors, like you're saying, about that. And I see Davies as somebody who actually, they really love the show. And there's somebody that wants to go. And you know what? Davies came along and brought the show back. So he's like, you know what? I bet he sat back and was so happy that Doctor Who reached a wider audience than it ever has. And not because of ego, because he set out to do that. And he accomplished it. And then Moffat was the opposite. He used that worldwide notoriety for the show to try and
make it his own.
Yeah. And it was that's all it was there for. He was using it like he would use some chick he would take out on a date as a trophy girlfriend or something.
Doctor Who was his trophy show, so
yeah.
But when he was when Russell T. Davies' era, he did not want Billie Piper to be the girlfriend. He was not happy. He was like, whatever. So every single time he wrote something where there was something else. There is Madame de Pompadour. There is River Song.
Guess what, Moffat? You were around longer than Davies, right? People want Davies to come back.
Yeah.
That is the golden age. Tennant's era, you failed. So what has all of that effort gotten you? Nowhere.
And also, too, he never really spoke highly of Billie Piper. He kind of said, oh, I don't like Rose, right? When the 50th was a mess, because here's another thing. He pissed off Christopher Eccleston, too, because he had him, and then he was gone, right? He didn't know what to do. He even said it. He was panicking, whatever. That was when he buckled, and he asked Billie Piper, regardless of all this shit that he said, he knew he needed to make it a success. So he asked her to come back as a different character. And she said yes, because you know what? She's wonderful. Okay? So she played the moment, okay? And then David Tennant coming back. I was in my hospital bed, and I reported from my hospital bed that David Tennant and Billie Piper were coming back in the 50th. And it was like the coolest thing. I mean, it kind of lifted my spirits a little bit. But it was like the most amazing thing, news at the time, But it didn't turn out to be what we thought it would to be, because you know, it was kind of a mess with certain things. You threw the Zygons in there. It's like, what the hell are you doing?
Yeah,
you
that
know?
was.
That was like
right there.
just a cluster muck of I don't know what the hell it was. You know, you threw all these apps. You threw the Zygons, you threw the Moment, you threw Time Lord. It was just a bad sandwich, I guess. Bad sandwich, but
I hear Big Finish did a better 50th anniversary than Moffat did.
Yeah, that's what everybody was saying. Big Finish did.
Oh, the line at the end. I did listen to that. That was great.
Yeah, they led up to it perfectly. Then they executed in the most awesomest way. But yet, then you get Moffat who comes in and goes, "Oh, let's just throw this, this, and this," and it was lackluster. And nobody cares about Moffat. They don't want him back.
But how do you like not care about your staff? Like you want to take off, but that means they have to be off for a year too. They're not. Did you get them any work? Did you see?
But no. Problem is, Moffat had his show that he could do. He had other side projects he could do. The staff that was with Doctor Who, what were they going to do? Were they going to?
He did Doctor Who, Tintin, and Sherlock at the same time, right?
But still,
and obviously, Sherlock was perfect.
He could go back and write. Okay, this is my storyline here. This is my storyline here. The actors, they couldn't do anything because he didn't know when they were going to get called back. You've got the production crew can't do anything because they know they've got to be there.
Well, they got contracts too.
Yeah.
So he worked with Steven Spielberg and Peter Jackson, and he did Tintin. In fact, they loved it so much they wanted to do the sequels. To which now he just started Doctor Who. He can't give that up. So it's like, oh, you know.
Moffat was clearly using it as a stepping stone to keep working his way up. And you know what? It's kind of like he took one girl to the prom who agreed to go with him to the prom. Then he started talking to some other girl that caught his fancy. And then he dumped her and talked to some other girl. That's what happened. He did not end up, dancing at the prom with the girl he took to the prom. Doctor Who.
Right.
That's what it is.
It's a shame.
So fuck you, Moffat.
So you know what? Like all this stuff that goes around comes around. Because now he's going out on a low because the ratings are dropping in the toilet. And then what kind of jobs are you going to have now? Yeah, what kind of jobs are you going to have now? That you run it down to the ground. When you should have just put tender loving care into it. You should have put heart into it.
But he didn't.
There's a difference between Matt Smith and Capaldi. And the music, the trailers, everything.
Like anything goes with him.
But look at the trailers for Matt Smith. Series 5, Series 6. The music, the speeches. Where the hell is Capaldi's catchphrase or speeches? I mean, he does the speeches sometimes, but the episode falls flat.
Yeah, Capaldi doesn't.
It's nice to have a speech and thin ice, but
it was in the second Zygon adventure. There was his big speech.
But even that, he kind of ripped the legacy of Unit into the toilets. Like because
Moffat doesn't want
daughter, you made it look like crap.
Yeah,
because Moffat did like we've been saying, he didn't want anything from the past show. He doesn't want his doctor looking to the past.
You remember when Russell T. Davis had a storyline for everything?
Monsters and removing the
Russell T. Davis had a story for everything. Russell T. Davis had the story nobody probably remembers that when the doctor miscalculated and Rose was gone for a year, the Ninth Doctor, remember that?
Yeah.
That she took Mickey Smith to court for murder. That she thought Mickey Smith killed her daughter. Do you remember that scene?
Yeah.
Where he's working in a mechanic and his life was like upside down. He kept getting arrested by Jackie Tyler, thinking that she killed his daughter, like her daughter. And then the doctor's back and she's like, and then they hug and they made up. But he had characterization. He basically said all these things and you don't even remember. You're like, oh my God, they were hating each other, Jackie Tyler and Mickey, because she thought he's responsible. It was like, wow. There's that characterization.
With Moffat, he makes it seem as though the viewers are supposed to be.
When Amy and Rory get trapped in the past, does he tell Brian? No. Moffat can't write to have the doctor tell the father that they're never coming back. He doesn't say anything. That's why I think it was Chibnall, right?
That the father automatically knows this happened.
Chibnall had to write that thing, P.S. Minisode. Chibnall wrote that, and he got Arthur Darvill to speak for it. Because he's like, you can't just leave this alone like this.
Also, Russell T Davies' Christmas specials actually went into the season, while Matt Smith's were just one-offs except for Time of the Doctor.
Right. Amazing. I mean, it's just, I don't even know what to say. It's like it was all up here. Whatever he was doing was up here. Listen, when you're writing something, right, you got to take yourself out of the equation.
Yeah.
You got to be in that world that you're writing about.
But if you're making yourself
emotions affect
as the character, that's one thing. But when you're actually writing for it, at that point in time, you've got to take yourself out and think, okay, I am actually the viewer, not the writer.
Listen, when I'm writing stuff, okay, if something happens and I'm mad about something, it will be in the writing. If I'm happy, it will be in the writing. But you can't have anything. If you're going to write a certain type of story, you can't have anything else affect it. Like this actor leaving and then wanting to come back. You can't subconsciously see that son of a bitch. I had to rip up all these scripts. You know what? I'm going to get her good. You know what? I'm going to write her up. She's going to kill her. She's going to talk to her boyfriend that she loves him, and he's going to get hit by a car. Now, it's like the shit that he did was like, holy shit, right? That you thought she was pregnant, Clara. You're like, oh, my God, why would she do this? Why would she have post this? So she's madly in love with this guy. But then the next season, she doesn't love him. And
she doesn't even know who he is. It's like they totally wiped her from
Moffat's like, oh, well, you know, she never really loved Danny Pink. What are you talking about? She posts this everywhere. Of course she did. Because he's mad at the actor. He's mad at Jones. He's mad at Jonas Coleman. He's mad at the guy that played Danny Pink. Back, so he's just lying to his team. And he's like, oh, she loves the doctor. But how could you have her love the doctor if you thought it would be weird with the ages and everything? But he did. He put it in Hell Bends that they're basically telling each other they love each other off camera. That's why they showed the building up there. Because who else would he survive 4.5 billion years to save? Not a companion. Somebody he's in love with. So, come on. Come on. Now silent. Nobody wants to talk.
Come on. I had to step away and piss. Sorry for like a.
That's all right. Thank you for announcing that, though. Okay. So yeah,
just so people know.
Yeah, that's that tinkling noise you heard.
That would have been a better episode of Doctor Who than Puddle Monster. I tell you that.
There you go. Mickey D is responsible for the Puddle Monster.
Oh no.
So
they walked in and go, oh. But
biggest thing is you're writing.
Oh, I just got to go real quick.
When
wait a minute. Puddle monster. He's making a puddle.
When you're writing, you have to just take personal things out of the equation. You could see when he was mad at Matt Smith, or when he was mad at Jenna Louise Coleman, or he's mad at Capaldi, the stupid shit that he had them do. Come on. How many things he did with Capaldi? There's a lot of shit he did with Capaldi.
Oh, God.
How do you have a finale where the master did this whole thing to say happy birthday? And then they're doing like the Macarena, like the Cyberman. And then he's like, I'm an idiot. Look at me, I'm an idiot. It's like, no, he's saying that Capaldi's an idiot. So he's making him say that.
Yeah.
It's like,
come on. And then you make Brigadier a Cyberman.
Yeah, don't get me started that way.
He made Rose, I'm not Rose, he made Amy and Rory.
You know what, not for that, I got to tell you, that's a cruel effing thing. Because here's the thing, he's not around anymore, okay?
Yeah.
The family probably, of course, can use money. She's like, yeah, I'm going to give you money, not because I care about the Brigadier and actor Nicholas Courtney, but because we're going to make it that he's a Cyberman, so I'm going to throw you some money, okay? You're okay with that, right? Of course I'm going to say yes, because it's money, and it's, maybe they need it, maybe they don't, whatever, but, okay, what is it going to hurt? But, of course, they're going to agree, yes, we like it, Moffat, sure, thank you for doing that great tribute that are he's a emotionless, Cyberman. You can never interact with anybody, and that's hell. Thank you. for
And
doing that.
I met Nick Courtney. He's a cool guy too.
Right. So
At
that was
convention, I ran into him in Terry Nation in Atlanta, Georgia. I think in '87 or '88, one of those 2 years. And Nick was a little pissed. Terry Nation was too, but they were good guys to talk. Pissed meaning they had a few cocktails, if you will. But
okay.
yeah, they were great guys to talk to and joke around with and stuff like that. Nick Courtney's a good guy, from what I've seen. I mean, I don't know the guy, obviously, but I mean, meeting the guy. So, well, there you go.
Yeah. And you mentioned the Brigadier. You don't mention Sarah Jane Smith. You don't mention Elizabeth Sladen at all.
Oh, yeah,
Nothing.
he didn't.
We got Nicholas Courtney, but you don't have nothing about it. Nothing. It's like, wow, thank you for just, being like that. I mean, I think they did mention her, like, I think they put her in the thing about the 50th or something, like she was holding the globe, then it was Clara holding the globe.
Teaser trailer for it.
Right, and then they just said in memory of, but that's not anything special. I mean, you need to do more than that.
Like Russell T.
Put
Davies.
it at the end of the episode. It's not doing the actress any justice.
What did he do? He put her husband in deep breath.
One of the episodes, or in the fifth, actually made a comment in the 50th, like, "Oh, somewhere."
I mean, he put her husband in deep breath, but okay, what is that?
Heck.
That's
Like Russell T. Davies put the Brigadier in a Sarah Jane Adventures episode.
Yeah. Yes, and he got to write for Matt Smith. Thank God. That was great too. That Russell T. Davies got to write for Matt Smith finally. So that he was great rendition of Matt Smith for the Doctor. Russell T. Davies was a great story. That was great.
I want to know what happened to Sergeant Benton in Captain Yates.
Yeah,
what happened to him?
I know they're on a unit Big Finish audio.
Okay.
With Osgood, Kate Stewart, and Joe Grant.
Well, look at Unit now. Now we know where they're not in Series 10. They have all audios they're putting out. Osgood, Kate.
Those are probably better than the ones that Moffat created.
And Diary River Song is doing well too.
I'd love to see Ben Kingston back to Doctor Who. That was the best part.
Why not have like Benton or Yates, even if they like popped on for like 30 seconds?
Yeah.
Have them go, oh, like, wow, you changed again.
Well, they said one of the unit soldiers, one of the Brigadier's unit soldiers was named Osgood. So that Osgood is related.
That's true, yes.
So
when I redid the 96 movie, when I did a little edit version of my own, I made it so Mike Yates was head of public relations of this particular branch of unit. And that's what they could easily do, is have him be the Brigadier due to what happened to him and all in the past. Go, here, I'm going to sign the papers so you can be head of public relations, and it's pretty much to wipe your slate clean.
You know how many times they could have had Ian Chesterton in this Doctor Who?
Caretaker.
Every time they had Cole Hill, he could have had a scene with Jenna Louise Coleman's Clara. They could have a scene together like very easily. I mean, even if you get a minute long or not even or 30 seconds or 20 seconds or whatever. What was the problem? Like, why can't you?
Because it seems like Moffat is trolling the fan base. It's like he wants to hear people whine and complain about the fact that it's like there's a story there that would take no effort to throw fan service into, to some degree, that people would appreciate and make Moffat, that they would love Moffat for that and go, wow, that was really cool that he took the time to actually write a scene, even a minute scene, with like Yates or Benton or somebody in there. But he's going to go, you know what, we're going to do a story and we're not going to bother with that whatsoever. I mean, it seems like he's really taking the piss out of the fan base by doing that. I mean, why not do that? People, even new Who fans who only grew up knowing the new show, if you had like some old face from like old unit pop up, people would understand that.
Yeah.
Fans would understand it, and the old fans would appreciate it.
Other episodes in the past.
He brought back great intelligence, so why not? He only picks and chooses who he wants to bring back. That's the problem.
Yeah.
That's the problem. To him, he loves great intelligence, but will he bring anybody else back? No, of course not. You know, like, the Doctor's on Earth, right? And they're showing him on the cameras. Remember that? They're showing him, you know, with Unit that time with Chris Eccleston's Doctor, and they're showing him on the news. What are the odds that he doesn't bump into a former companion? That they don't contact Unit and they go see him and talk to him about stuff? What are the damn odds that don't happen?
The thing is, the show is about time travel. Duh. So if you had like a episode where Sutek came back, for instance,
yeah,
and you had the opportunity to throw one line in the script where somebody said something about, you know, like I'm trying to think, was it Sorensen? Who was the professor in that?
Sorensen, yeah.
Yeah, is that's correct? Okay.
Yeah.
So, or you could do an episode with, let me think.
Jagaroth.
Well, like Talons Wing Chiang, you bring back, you know,
Mr. Sin.
that whole storyline, and you don't mention Django and Lightfoot. You know, even in a throwaway line. Why not?
But they're in audios, though.
Yeah.
They could have brought them in there. I mean, that's stupid.
They have one of the guys that played Django and Lightfoot in Unicorn and the Wasp.
Let's see.
Yeah, but that was Davies, not Moffat, right?
Yeah, that's true. That's why it was a good thing.
But I mean, the thing is that would be cool because
Davies worked Sarah Jane Smith.
This show's been around for like 50 plus fucking years. It would be cool to, and by the way, like nudge nudge, the show is about time travel, so it would actually be cool to like throw in a line, even one line, for the Doctor to look at the companion and go, you know what, it would, you know, God, I wish those blokes, Django and Lightfoot, were here to help me out with things or something, you know, like, or make a reference to it. Because, like, the fans would love that shit. It's one line. It wouldn't mean anything, you know?
If Elizabeth Sladen didn't die, Russell T. Davies was going to bring in Ace, Sophie Aldred. He was going to bring in some older companions. Kitty Manning was going to return, and Sarah Jane Smith, and the Doctor was going to return, too. You know, so they had plans to do that. Russell T. Davies was the only one that was honoring the past. Moffat? No way. No way. Don't tell me he put Tom Baker in there as a curator. Because no. He didn't honor anything. Not at all. He screwed up a biggest chance to have a 10th anniversary, like, special. And he ruined it. Like, we don't need to do that. Like, what do you mean?
Heck, the comic, the Titan comics have done tons of crossovers with 9, 10, 11, and 12 being
because that's what everybody wants. So why don't you give fans what they want once in a while? You know?
And notice, by the way, they cut out.
Fans loved it so much because he would have thrown in some little tidbit to go, where really what was that was from, and they would look up the line or they'd look up the reference, go, and then they'd go back watch the episode, which would bring them to other episodes. And they'd understand why the love of Doctor Who and why it had lasted for so long.
And if they didn't understand the reference, it would not be a big deal. It wasn't like it was like some deal breaker with them not understanding what's going on in the current episode.
Throwaway line.
Yeah, you see what I'm saying? It's kind of like the thing with what was the scene that they cut out of Knock Knock? That the one kid was like Harry Sullivan.
Harry Sullivan's grandson.
Yeah. And they cut that out. You can't do that.
They cut it out because he didn't care the person died. Remember that? The person went out the window. He didn't care about that. He didn't care about that kid. He's like, where's Bill? Remember that? Remember how cold they made Capaldi look as a doctor? Like, he was just like, where's Bill? He would leave everybody behind.
I mean, think about it. If you're like the Doctor, okay, like I understand, like you meet people, you befriend them, you move on, you've got new friends, things like that. But I can tell you, I've been places with the person I'm with currently, you know, my partner, lady friend, whatever, where I've said, oh yeah, you know, like last time I was here, I was with blah blah blah. They never have references like that, you know.
Right,
like we're in the Doctor. You would know the Doctor would say something like, oh, you know, like wow, like things have changed since I was with Joe here last, and you know the companion is like, what? And he's like, "Oh, that was a long time ago. Don't worry about it." Even some throwaway line like that would
Russell T Davies did that with Cleopatra.
Yeah,
that would be Sarah Jane.
Just like how I said with the Eater of Light, the doctor saw Romans. He didn't say squat. Oh, I should know a Roman named Rory.
Yeah, he didn't even say that. That was ridiculous. But it will do lines that on stuff that he did.
Because you know what, that makes the Doctor. I don't know if I'd use the word human, but I mean, it gives you an understanding that the Doctor respects his past.
Mm-hmm.
You know, and it's not something that he's completely separate from. It's something where even internally he does remember these people. He remembers his adventures. And it makes the character so much more nuanced than just to have him show up.
Relatable.
David Tennant's Doctor was the most human Doctor there is. And then you go for Matt Smith where he's detached. And he doesn't want relationships. He doesn't want any of that stuff. He's like a kid running around. And then you got Capaldi that's all like grim. They make him just, they don't even know how to write him.
Well, the Doctor doesn't have to like obsess over it, but just throwing a line out there. You know, because it shows you, it gives you a connection as somebody who's watched the series, as we all have, for a long time. It gives connection to the whole series.
But the only lines he threw in there, Moffat, were his lines from past episodes. When he had Clara talking to the Cybermen, and he's mentioning that the Doctor was married to Marilyn Monroe and all that stuff. Is that really needed? No. Why don't you reference the classic series? But no, Moffat's got to toot his own horn.
Well, if he showed up if he showed up in Spain, could he not say something about like Jamie and the second Doctor from the two Doctors, obviously, like, you know, showing up there and going, you know, like, wow, you know, like the place has changed since I was back here with Jamie last, and
the restaurant that one they were from. He says, "Oh, they changed the restaurant. I remember when it was such and such."
Yeah.
Yep, but they didn't.
Or saying, like, I wonder if they changed the menu since the story was here last. And then, like, because they've referenced stories we haven't even fucking seen before, like Jim the Fish and shit like that. I mean,
never saw that episode.
Yeah. Do you get my point?
We never saw that episode, and we never...
Wait, listen, I'm making a point here. That Jim the Fish, an episode we never have seen, it means nothing to us. No one has seen it because they never filmed it. But if you went back to, like, Spain and said, like, wow, you know, they finally changed the menu since that whole incident with Chesini and Destari.
Yeah.
You know, like, we would get that, unlike Jim the Fish, because that episode never fucking happened. But
because he thought Matt Smith, he thought Matt Smith was going to do a whole another year, so that was going to be one of the stories.
Well, we don't know.
Capaldi then.
But that's the whole point. He had things in his head that he didn't want to resolve anything because he thought in his head that he was going to get Matt Smith. But anyway, not only that, but this came up recently in discussion. In the Husbands of River Song, right at the end, right before it ends, River has a line so fast that you would miss it. And she says to him, you know, we have other things. I mean, she's like, we have other things. What about the birthday where like two of you showed up or whatever, right? Now, people are like, oh, that's the mini-sode. That's not the mini-sode because Moffat would not bring it up in Husbands of River Song if it happened already, because it's supposed to happen. It's supposed to be a story that means that Moffat's going to do another River story at that point in time. So he had an idea. Okay, I'm going to do Jim the Fish. But he didn't do it with Matt Smith. And I'm going to do
Asgard.
That they did Picnic at Asgard. That was Lake Silencio with the whole. They were having wine, and then he got shot by the Impossible Astronaut.
Yeah, so that was actual.
That's what that was. But I'm saying the only two things they never did was Jim the Fish and the birthday where she's with Stevie Wonder and the singing and all. And it can't be Capaldi, by the way, because she never met him. So don't let Moffat fool you that he's going to change shit. Because she did not know he was the Doctor. And he can't contradict himself because she had a whole list of his faces. She did not know. Yep. She did not know. So, because Moffat tends to change shit. I don't like that. So, the only time she can meet Capaldi, it's after she leaves that place to go to the library. Maybe there's a couple of adventures before the library. She bumps into Cabaldi. You know? Or even she's dead and she's the hologram. You know? But Moffat just, you know.
I'd like to see them.
Didn't know how to write Doctor for Doctor Who at all. Let's put it that way.
Yeah, Mike.
I'd like with Chibnall to possibly do a series with Paravel and maybe have something harken back to his time with Ace, possibly. And do, you know, like go back to that whole thing.
What was her name? Dorothy, kind of? Like Ace's real name was
I don't remember that.
Dorothy, right?
Yeah.
Her name was Dorothy.
Let me look that up.
I think her name was Dorothy.
Yeah, and I can't remember what her last name was.
Yeah, but that's, you know.
Dorothy Gale Ace McShane.
McShane, thank you. That's what I was trying to think of.
Dorothy. Yeah.
Thanks,
Or they
man.
could have continued stories from Curse of Fenric.
Yeah.
Like all the enemies knew the Seventh Doctor's real name. Like he was part of some enemy club that you didn't know about, Ancient Gallifrey, Silver Nemesis, all this stuff, and they never alluded to anything. You could have had him bump into people that, you know, question things, you know? Oh, well, we're rambling and stuff. We're just what ifs, what if could have been, you know, why didn't he do this, why didn't he do that? But we're running out of time for Moffat to explain anything or to do anything right.
Yeah.
We got 2 episodes left.
To explain himself.
2 episodes left. 2 episodes left.
And the Christmas adventure does not count. It means...
What? It does count as an episode to finish off the writing. I mean...
Well, the bottom line is get the fuck out of here, Moffat, already. For fuck's sake.
And you know what? All his stuff should be opened up for the next writer to announce and basically solve. So if Chris Chibnall says, you know what? I want to answer every friggin' Moffat thing, people would love that shit. Absolutely. And it should be open for him to do that. He should be able to use everybody that Moffat created, Weeping Angels, Silence, and he should not be able to say anything. I know the crap. I heard stuff about how, you know, he said no to things, Moffat. But that should be Doctor Who and Doctor Who's property only. Anybody can use it without even telling him.
Exactly.
So,
I would love to see John Sim carry over into the new season and utilize to some degree with a younger, newer Doctor that we don't know this new Doctor well enough to actually trust in the fact. I mean, we know the show's Doctor Who. They're not going to kill the guy. Yeah. But it would still be very interesting to see the fact that we have a younger Doctor going against this master that we know is so powerful as far as like his manipulation, his intellect, what's going on with him, and he could be puppeting things behind the scenes. I would like to see a whole series with Sim in the background or in the forefront or somewhere in between, and there being some threat posed by him, and the new Doctor, you getting to know him, and him maybe doubting the fact that he has what it takes to go up against the Master, even though he knows he's compelled to, and he's kind of questioning himself. You know, I don't even care if they have a love interest, fine, throw that in there, whatever, but I want to see, I don't want to see rushed individual episodes. I want to see a story arc. I'd rather see a whole season of that than we're going to go to Planet X, we're going to fight Enemy X, and by the end
of the time in E-Space.
What?
Like the key to time, E-Space. That whole thing, they have that whole thing stretching off the whole season.
Yeah, or Pertwee's era.
Yeah. So, and you were right on the money with that one, gotta say. So.
Shit.
Yeah, shit. All right, guys, thanks a lot. I know it's been long. Take care. Bye for now.
Sure.